It is game week, and that's, of course, when we bring in Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, NFL scout, college scout. We're breaking down all the personnel. We're breaking down LSU and Miami, the Canes and Tigers. It's finally here, Chris, and we're talking about, I think LSU dodged a huge bullet. Stay with me. Two of the best defensive tackles are no longer on Miami's squad. They actually jumped early to the NFL. What do you see from this defense? Maybe not as scary as some people think.
Well, I think they're going to be good. I love their linebackers, and I think the secondary is good. They're bringing three of those four back, and their nickel package will be pretty good. But I agree with you. On the defensive line, they're losing some key guys, and the guy that coached them, Craig Kulikowski, who I think is as good a pass rush coach as there is in college football. He's now at Alabama. He was at Missouri for all those years under Gary Pinkel. It's going to be a loss. I think Miami's a good team. I think the respect that they've gotten is earned to a large degree in the job that Mark Richt and his staff has done there. But I don't know that they're a great team. I think LSU has personnel that can match up very well with Miami now. Look, Mark did a good job, and certainly coaching maybe give them a little bit of an edge at this point until we see otherwise. But no, I do think this is going to be a good defense, but defensive front. That's where we can talk turnover chain and turning the ball over. Turnovers come from pressure up front, so we'll see. This is going to be a challenge, but this is going to see how effective they're going to be. They've got some good young players, but they're going to miss a couple of those key guys up front.
It's really underrated how much those defensive tackles, if you can get that push in the middle, how much that disrupts the quarterback. Miami does return a couple of good defensive ends for this game, and by the way, I'm in love with a lot of their defensive backs back there. Reminds me, by the way, of a little bit of LSU. Very similar packaging here.
They do. They run a lot of fire zones. They do a really good job with bringing pressure from different launch points. This is a pretty good defense. It's pretty well coached, and they do have athletes. And no, they're not Miami of the 80s, but I don't know they'll ever get back quite to that. But they're getting better, and Mark Richt's done a good job in recruiting. I don't think they're a top 10 team. They may prove, better than LSU. We'll see. But this is going to be a challenge for LSU. But I think that this is not a mismatch on paper from a roster standpoint that people think. We'll see how it plays out on the field.
Absolutely. Very similar, I think, as far as personnel goes, except for maybe the quarterback, and I want to touch on that. I think maybe why I've been telling everyone who will listen that this game is going to be, whatever the over-under is, just take the under, because there isn't going to be a lot of offense in this one, per my opinion, and that's because I watched Malik Rozier last year. And I got to say, nothing really impressed me too much about this guy.
Yeah, I think one thing is going to really have to, improve greatly for Miami is that play at the quarterback position. Mark's done a good job. Mark Richt's done a good job with quarterbacks in the past. And I think getting this offense that's on track is going to obviously the key for both teams. LSU fans know that. I think getting the running game established is going to be pivotal. Play up front in the offensive line is going to be pivotal to that. I agree with you that the defenses are going to be the better units on the field in this game. What offense can have the most success is going to ultimately determine the direction of this game.
And I think something to watch, too, is Mark Richt, former quarterback, of course. He knows what a quarterback's looking for. A lot of times he can anticipate. I think that's something he did amazingly well last year, anticipating when they're not going to blitz. Because Malik needs a little bit more time to identify things down the field. We'd give him some drag routes here, some underneath options, just in case things go awry there in the pocket. How well do you think Mark Richt has done in kind of preparing Rozier, and what do you think he's kind of done to help safety net some of these things?
I think he's done a good job. I think that is the key, is to kind of create a comfort level for your quarterback, and he's done that. Now, I think Malik comes with some limitations, and I think you'll see a lot of nickel in this game, but I think that they will definitely challenge him up front, try to bring a lot of pressure, but you got to stop the run. You got to always stop the run. And if you can't stop the run, that's the easiest way to get beat. I actually just look overall personnel-wise, defense versus defense. I think LSU has a little bit. I like LSU's defensive line a little better. I love Miami's linebackers, but with LSU's linebackers, and particularly Devin White, I think LSU's had better. And listen, we can sit there and argue, one or the other with the secondaries. They're both great, but I think LSU's got a little bit of an edge there, and I'd put Dave Aranda's skills up against anybody being able to take away.
As far as the offense, boy, some of the practice reports we're hearing, not too encouraging. You talk about wide receiver drops out there. Now, Jonathan Giles, supposed to be your leader at that wide receiving position. He wasn't out there for one of the scrimmages, and that's the scrimmage they had a lot of drops in. So what do you do from a coaching perspective, X and O's wise, when you're struggling with that? You don't really have a bell cow running back, and you're going to be facing a Miami defense like this.
Well, the big key is they may have to be creative to get the running game going. So they're going to have to run out of more spread sets, more 3 and 4 wides. I know what Steve Ensminger wants to be on offense. I know what his idea and concepts will be. I think it's more in tune towards continuity of how they want to build this team, but how effective. The quarterback situation is a problem. You mentioned the issues with receiver. I think that'll get better. But again, who's going to be the vertical threat that's going to take a top off of defense and manipulate a safety? And then what running back is going to step up and really make this running game go? This is the first time in a long time that we've not had at least a really outstanding running back that you could say that's one of the best backs in the country. One may emerge. To this point, we have it. I think you'll see the tight ends more involved in the passing game. I know you've heard that before. I know that's what Steve wants to do. We'll see how it all comes together, but it's going to be imperative to, I think, in this first game, to be able to have good balance against a really good defense.
Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Go visit the site. Full breakdown of Miami and the Hurricanes up on the website here in the next couple of days, as well as, of course, plenty on LSU right here on your Louisiana Go Nation.